Okay, it's Sunday again, and have another game lined up. Once again, it's Ogres versus Warriors of Chaos with a new book. I've fiddled with my army a bit more after last week's defeat, and hopefully it's a bit better this time. Right, so we're playing the meeting engagement, which would explain how sparse our board looks, because naturally we rolled for the things that held in reserve. And so I got his big old Death Star, and I got mine, which seems pretty standard. Right, so things that I rolled a 1 for are the dogs, and 29 warriors of Nurgle, with halberts and Festus. And then on the board I have a Hell Cannon, a Zinch BSB on a disc, a Chimera, 4 Skull Crushers with a musician, 5 Hounds, level 4 of Nurgle Demon Prince with all the trimmings, and a Nurgle Gorbeast Chariot full by small, which I've converted up. I'm not a big fan of the Gorbeast model, so thought I'd change it up. So yeah. Yeah, so it's the meeting engagement. So I deployed his army first, then I deployed mine. And then we rolled for the Seize the Initiative equivalent of the Warhammer version, and I actually rolled it on one sized dice, so only 6 he was ever likely to roll has been used up. So, right, so I'll hand it over to Si, see what he's got in his army.
Okay, as Ollie said, we're playing meeting engagement. I'm playing the same list as last week, just an extra 2 man-eaters to knock it up to 2,500. Basically, I lost my Gut Star and my Iron Blaster, so they're coming in on my first turn. So unfortunately, with Ollie seizing the initiative, he gets a pretty much unabated magic phase, so that could be a bit of a problem. But as for my deployment, up here on the deployment line, I have 2 Saber Tusks. See, Mr. Horsey there is proxying a Saber Tusk as I dropped the other one, and he broke off his base. So after many swear words, I'm going to have to fix that at a later date, but we couldn't do it in time for the game. And then over here on my sort of right flank, I have some lead belchers, 6 of them. And then back here I have the Mournfang and the man-eaters. And basically, yeah, I think you can guess what that hole is left for. So yeah, that is my army. Unfortunately, he's literally about half of the points cost, hence the very sparse layout as well. So yeah, with Ollie seizing the initiative, we will see you at the end of Chaos Turn 1.
Okay, it's the end of Warriors of Chaos Turn 1, and it's pretty horrendous, really. My big unit of Nurgle Warriors moved on the board, as did the dogs. Then in the in the charging, I attempted to charge my Gorbeast Chariot, these lead belchers, and he fled wisely, as I actually made the roll. So if he hadn't have fled, he would have been in combat with it, which would have been bad times for him. So he made the right call there. Then my Warhounds here attempted to charge his Saber Tusk and actually failed the charge. Then in the Skull Crusher just moved up behind him. Chimera moved over there. The Demon Prince moved up behind the forest. Then I thought I'd try and capitalise on my magic superiority with his level 4 not being on the board. And yeah, I rolled 7 dice, got a channel, pretty good. Tried to cast a spell with him and rolled 333, so he actually failed to cast it on 3 dice, which was just to lower their toughness. I was then going to cast Rancid Visitations on him for lots of hilarity, but it didn't happen because he rolled a 333. And then I thought, well, we might as well try and cast some spells with Festus and try and get some lore attributes going. And then he rolled like 4 or something and failed to cast his spell. So yeah, totally wasted that magic phase. Then I thought I'd console myself some shooting. The Hell Cannon fired at the Mournfang, giving them golden opportunity to flee them off the board in the first turn. with then being no BSB or general around, and of course he failed to hit them. So, so yeah, it's pretty horrendous for the first turn. So I've done nothing really in this turn other than make my units a bit closer so I can cannon me. So, or not in his case. So it could be the game of fail, this one. So yeah, so it's the end of Warriors of Chaos, turn 1.
Okay, it's the end of the Ogres' first turn. I brought my Gutstar in, and the Iron Blaster moved up. Then the Lead Belchers reformed. They passed their test. I always put a musician in with them just to make sure, because obviously they're quite good fodder to kill, because well, they're basically just sort of bulls with leadership 7 on their own. And no one ever really leaves them anywhere where they can be within range of a general. So you know, running away, musician's always a good idea, I think. The Mornfang just moved up slightly to cover with the guts. Then basically, because I didn't want a Chimera charging the flank of my dudes, I moved these guys up. I know it's a bit suicidal, but the magic phase I managed to get Bull Gorger off on them, so they're now like strength 6, which is pretty tasty. Then over here I've moved my 2 Saber Tusks up, mainly because I want to try and spark some frenzy tests. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for the movement. Like I said, in the magic phase, I managed to roll 6. I tried casting Spine Marrow on these guys, these guys, but even though I rolled a 15 on 2 dice, I managed to dispel it. Then I got Bull Gorger off, and then I failed to cast Troll Guts, which I was going to cast on these guys. So yeah, then shooting phase, unfortunately, this, as you may have guessed by now, as we always know happens with me, I roll a misfire on the artillery dice and got this squelch result, so that isn't going to be firing until turn 3. So yeah, that was the end of my shooting, and with no close combat, that was the end of my go. So it's now on to Chaos turn 2.
Okay, it's the end of Warriors of Chaos turn 2, and well, there's still a lot on the board because very little died. So, well, movement-wise, well, I attempted to charge my Demon Prince into his Lead Belchers, and they fled. Luckily, just out of range of running off the board. That was lucky for him. Then I redirected into the Mornfang and did a double 6. Didn't happen, so I just failed my charge. Then my the BSB charged into the Lone Saber Tusk, so I elected to hold. He was just keeping it there to force a frenzy test on these guys. It's pretty clever. Which actually didn't move up, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, so he charged in there. These guys just moved up. I decided not to charge this because I thought if I failed the charge from him fleeing or something, then I wouldn't move up very fast. So I just moved up as far as I could. So it didn't hamper movement too much. And these guys just moved up. These guys moved to redirect the man-eaters, and the Chimera moved up to threaten his flank. Then the magic phase, obviously my level 4 failed to charge, so he couldn't cast. Which, it's definitely becoming a theme here, so maybe the level 4 is not the way to go. But I'll discuss that later. Anyway, but luckily I rolled a pitifully bad magic phase and only got 3 dice, so I managed to cast Fleshy Abundance. Just to try and get the law attribute off, which I didn't, so it was something to do at least. So yeah, so that hasn't really been a success story. Shooting phase, the Hell Cannon fired at the Gutstar and missed again. And then in close combat, my Exalted Hero almost killed the Saber Tusk, but only managed to do a wound to it. But luckily his new improved buff Disc of Doom actually managed to do the final wound to it and kill him. And the Saber Tusk whiffed all his attacks. So yeah, he gave me magic. Unfortunately, didn't get a roll on Eye of the Gods for killing a 21-point redirect, but which hardly seems fair. But I definitely think he should have earned Demonhood from that. But so I didn't seem to think it was very acceptable. So yeah, so that's the end of Warriors of Chaos Turn 2, and not a lot's happening really. But yeah, I have killed a Saber Tusk, so nice. Gods will be pleased.
Okay, the end of Ogres Turn 2. Yeah, basically, there were no charges. The lead belchers rallied again, right on the board edge. The Mornfang and the Iron Guts moved up a bit. The Man Eaters decided that they were going to mug the dogs off and start having a look at this this Chimera. And that was pretty much it. The magic phase was an utter write-off, in fact. I rolled a 6, Ollie got a channel, so he had 5 dispel dice. And even though I rolled pretty well for 2 of the spells, he rolled far better, and yeah, it did me. So I've not had really much luck with my my magic phase for quite some time actually. It's not since probably midway through the last game where I think I got a 10. But yeah, it was a little bit poor, but yeah, there were no miscasts, so can't complain too much there. And yeah, it was so again, that's pretty much how it ended, as this couldn't fire. Obviously these couldn't fire because they'd just rallied. So yeah, with that, it's now Chaos Turn 3.
Okay, it's the end of Warriors of Chaos Turn 3. Charge wise, I charged my Demon Prince into the Mornfang. I charged, I don't think that was all. Oh yeah, I charged my Warrior Horde into the Brave Saber Tusk. Unfortunately, it was in the flank, as Si pointed out. It was a nasty little redirection. And then just moved everyone up, moved the Skull Crushers up, these dogs to redirect the Gut Star, and my Chimera just behind the Man Eaters. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The chariot just moved up a little bit. Then in the magic phase, rolled relatively well. I think got 6 dice to size 3 off the channel, and I managed to cast. What did I? Oh, I cast. What's that called again?
Miasma of Pestilence.
Miasma of Pestilence on these guys. Just allow their weapon skill by 1. Just trying to get a lore attribute from the Demon Prince, really. I didn't need to cast on the Mornfang, obviously, because he was already hitting me on 6s, so it didn't really matter. Reducing the initiative didn't matter either. So, and then I pretty much dispelled my Curse of the Leper in an attempt to up my Demon Prince's toughness. And then that was it. So in the shooting phase, the Hell Cannon fired at the Lead Belchers. Managed to clip one with a wound, and he passed his panic test at -1. So he's put a wound count on there, so just one of those guys. So they've passed like 3 break tests or panic tests so far, rolling 6 each time. It's quite annoying. But at least they haven't done his shooting yet, so I can't really complain too much. Yeah, so that was pretty much it. And then in close combat, my Khorne Warriors absolutely blew that Saber Tusk up, doing about 1 million wounds to it. Unfortunately, still no roll on the Eye of the Gods though, which seems a bit unfair. So I was adamant I shouldn't get it for that. And then the Demon Prince Shoesworth charged into the Mornfang. Unfortunately, he butchered them to hell. Did 4 wounds, killed one outright, put wounds. Then well, one of his Mornfang attacks actually got 6 to hit, got past my 3-up armor save, my 2-up charm shield, and thankfully I passed my 5-up ward save, otherwise that would have been really annoying. And then his Ogres unfortunately whiffed. They couldn't get past my 2-up armor save, or 1-up armor save should I say, but so yeah, so he didn't do anything back. And unfortunately for me, I killed him, obviously ran to catch him. Because the one I killed, he wouldn't have bounced with the Iron Blaster, so I kind of had to pursue. Plus I would be out in no man's land anyway. But now I'm in a rock and a hard place now because there's a cannon there and a load of angry lead belchers. So my general's probably going to get shot to hell. But the only thing I've got going for me is size shooting isn't the most reliable.
Pretty reliably poor.
Yeah. I mean, talk about handing it to a player. I put a monstrous creature in between his lead belchers and his cannon. If he can't kill that with those, then he probably shouldn't take any shooting. But yeah, other than that, the BSB. Oh, the BSB moved back here. Sorry. Yeah, so that was it. So that's the end of Warriors of Chaos turn 3, and with Mornfang down, I'm pretty happy. Although it doesn't look too good for my general, but that was a risky take when charging a Demon Prince into stuff. But it's nice to see him in combat killing stuff, though. It's really cheers me up when you see a flying monstrous creature actually able to kill stuff. So yeah, so hand you over to Sai for the end of Ogres turn 3.
Okay, it's the end of Ogres turn 3, and the Man-Eaters, they just sort of they reformed and moved back slightly to give them some room. The Iron Guts moved around a little, and the Chariot pivoted, as did the Lead Belchers. In the Magic phase, I rolled 8, and basically managed to get Troll Guts and Bull Gorger off on the Man-Eaters, and then I tried to cast, I was going to try and cast Brain Gobbler on the Chimera. Unfortunately, with only with 3 dice versus Ollie's 5 Dispel, didn't bother, so I tried to cast some Spine Marrow on these guys instead, but Ollie dispelled it. So then basically I the shooting phase with these guys turned around, they opened up on the Demon Prince. I rolled a staggering 28 shots against him. Unfortunately, only 10 hit, and I think I got 3 wounds. But Ollie rolled really badly for his armor saves, and took 2 wounds. So yeah, he got a 3-up armor save. He got 2 2s and a 5, and then failed his invulnerable. Then the Iron Blaster turned around and opened up with a epic grape shot with 6 shots fired. 4 of them hit, 4 of them wounded, and I managed to do 3 wounds to him, finishing off the Demon Prince, which was quite lovely. So yeah, it was that's a pretty good turn for the Ogres, and now I have to contend with the rest of it. So yeah, it's now on to Chaos turn 4.
Okay, it's the end of Warriors of Chaos turn 4, and not a hideously bad turn. Mourning the death of my general. My guys moved up for some vengeance. Unfortunately, that didn't really play out that way. There was no charges. I just moved my dogs up to redirect his stuff. Everything else just moved round, to kind of hopefully get some combat in. Because the game of close combat, after all, hopefully. Right. The Chimera just moved over here, and the BSB moved up as well. And then in the Magic phase, I managed to cast Blades of Putrefaction. Unfortunately, it was with a miscast. I managed to kill 3 Chaos Warriors, which was pretty pointless. And I failed to get the Law Attribute off as well. But luckily, Festus passed his. I rolled a 6 on the miscast. He passed his regen save, as did one of the Warriors. Hence why only 3 died instead of 4. And then, what happens next? The shooting phase, the Hell Cannon fired at the Lead Belchers, got a direct hit. Failed to roll to wound the guy in the hole, and 2 of the other guys, and managed to do 2 wounds, just enough to kill 1 of them. And so I once again rolled a 6 for the panic test. That's 4 times now. Yeah, so that's 4 6s rolled for that unit. I mean, there wasn't all of the Hell Cannon, but twice for the Hell Cannon, twice for rallying, and but yeah, really annoying. But anyway, so that's the end of Warriors of Chaos turn 4. Hopefully, something will kick off in the next couple of turns.
Okay, it's the end of Ogres turn 4, No charges. Basically, I made a reform. I couldn't really do much else other than that. But it just maximises my my sort of sidage, if you like, on account that I've got some nasty beastie coming in there. These guys just sort of held back. The Iron Blaster pivoted around, and the the Lead Belchers turned around. In the magic phase, managed to get off Bull Gorger, and then I managed to cast Brain Gobbler on the Chimera, who failed its panic test, and luckily for me fled off the board. Then I tried to get Spine Marrow off on the Iron Blaster, but failed to cast a Roll of 1. Then in the shooting phase, the Iron Blaster shot the Chariot, hit it, did 3 wounds to it, and then the Lead Belchers managed to kill 4 dogs. Really annoyingly, Ollie managed to bloody pass its leadership test with 3. So yes, my dice coming into its own. So yeah, my inability to remove the chaff is starting to stifle me, because Ollie's beginning to get me, I think, exactly where he wants me. So I need to be careful. So it's now, with that, Chaos turn 5.
Okay, it's end of Warriors of Chaos turn 5, and things go from bad to worse. So I didn't do any I attempted to charge with the Chariot onto the Iron Blaster, but failed to make it, needing a 10. And then my dog over here attempted to charge into the Man-Eaters just to get out of the way, so I could charge into his Gutstar, my nice unit of Nurgle Warriors. And that was all the charges. Obviously he failed it, rolling triple 1, which was nice. And then I just moved around, as you can see. Then in magic phase, I threw 6 dice at a big fleshy abundance, thinking as long as I don't roll a 4 or less, I'll be fine. Got it off and rolled a 4 or less. Killed 4 of my warriors, even after regen saves. And Festus got sucked into the void. So they lost their poison attacks and their regen, so they just have the effects of the spell, which is the 5-up regen, which is going to last this turn and then disappear. And so 22 warriors without buffs versus Gutstar, which hasn't even taken a wound yet, apart from a Grutzical stab, isn't looking good. Bearing in mind the rest of my army couldn't take him down last go. So yeah, pretty demoralised now. Worst thing is in the explosion, the Gorbeast Chariot actually took another wound, failing its regen. And yeah, so it's really looking bad at the moment. So see what Sai does in his turn. Probably charge me, kill me and win, I would have thought. Yeah, so the Hell Cannon fired at the Gutstar and of course scattered off 10 and did nothing. My reasoning being that I was just going to soften them up before, just to give me a slight chance, but it didn't happen. So yeah, so it's the end of Warriors of Chaos turn 5, and it's really not looking good. We've actually reasoned that is definitely Sai's dice, which are bad. He suffered a fair few defeats last year, and that's because his dice are so shit. So we're going to burn them. We've decided to use my dice for the rest of the game. I'm even going to let Sai use them because I just don't want to see them rolled around the board anymore. Yeah, so if you need to buy some second-hand dice because you want to lose, then contact Sai. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to throw some games, then buy these dice for your opponent. Even maybe you can win. But yeah, don't ever. Ugh. Anyway, so we'll see Warriors. Ogres turn 5.
Okay, it's the end of Ogres turn 5. Basically, the Man-Eaters charged the dogs, who chose to flee. So I edged forward about 5 inches. Then the Gutstar charged the lone dog in the flank, and then basically the lead belchers moved up a bit, and then this flipped around. Then in the magic phase, I managed to get 9. I cast Bull Gorger. Ollie then dispelled Troll Guts, and I got then I got off Brain Gobbler, which I cast speculatively on the Chaos Warriors, and Ollie unfortunately rolled the hideous 11, and yeah, unfortunately they fled. So that was sort of maximum profit there. Then I chose to mug well, then with my last dice there was no point in risking miscast, the Spine Marrow wasn't going to benefit anything. Then in the shooting phase, lead belchers opened up on the chariot, did nothing. I got like 7 hits, but yeah, failed to wound. And then the Iron Blaster decided to now show off. Managed to jib one of the Skull Crushers. So a pretty good turn for Ogres, and yeah, it's now time for Chaos turn 6.
Okay, it's the end of Warriors of Chaos turn 6, and in an effort to try and reclaim some glory, I made some charges. I charged my Skull Crushers into the Man-Eaters, knowing already that they were stubborn. I thought maybe I could just get lucky. I charged my BSB into the Gut Star just to hold them up so they couldn't flank my Skull Crushers, because I knew that the dogs probably wouldn't rally, thus they couldn't redirect them. So I had to do something just to hold them up. Might as well play for the win. I charged the Gorbeast Chariot into the Lead Belchers. And that was pretty much it for charges. So that was it for charges. And then compulsory move, I attempted to rally my Nurgle Warriors, and they bounced off the board because they failed. They lose 9 again. So yeah, so that was about 600 points just run off the board. Dogs failed to rally as well, so I had no chance of winning. But I thought I might as well just try and kill some ogres. The Gorbeast Chariot did amazingly well. Sorted out those lead belchers who did finally run off the board and not take a wound in return, which is lucky. We only had 1 left. The Skull Crushers killed 2 Man-Eaters and put 2 wounds on another guy, but lost 1 in return, which is a pretty fair trade. Which is site is stubborn 9 with a reroll, so I had no real chance of breaking them. My BSB in the dying moments of my last turn challenged, so I sportingly accepted his champion. I actually managed to slot the guy and roll on the Eye of the Gods table, hoping for Demon Princehood, so I was hoping I'd turn into a spawn. Instead I just got kicked in the teeth as a kind of fair compromise, and just got +1 to my 1-up armour save, which is always useful. Yeah, but I did actually win the combat, but so I easily passed his 9 rerollable stubborn.
Yeah,
wasn't too worried.
There was a good reason for accepting the champion though, because obviously if I'd declined any of the close combat, you could have sent my sent my dudes back.
Which is why I should have done that combat first, because I was hoping something like that would happen. Then he wouldn't get BSB rerolled on their stubborn. But I didn't think of that at the time. But yeah, I had no chance of winning anyway. It would take quite a lot for that Gut Star to run off, and that was pretty much the only chance I had. And that was the only chance I had while I still had a big unit of Nurgle Warriors on the table, keeping all my points in check. But when they run off the table, that's not so good. So we're going to go outside last turn, just so he can ram it home and sort me out. But it is essentially over. So we'll see you at the end of Ogres turn 6.
Okay, it's the end of Ogres turn 6, the end of the game. I tried my hardest to lose, as I will get to.
This is a tale of woe.
Basically, these guys just the Iron Blaster turned around to face the Gorbeast Chariot. Then in the magic phase, I got 11 dice, so I was like, yeah, let's have a little bit of a magic phase. 1 go overboard. Troll Guts on these guys with 3 dice, and I miscast. I miscast bad. Rolled a 3. and then got sucked into the void by only 3. So yeah, that lost that, and I managed to do 7 wounds to my unit as well, but they held. Then in the shooting phase, this just turned around. Having turned around, I got nice, lovely 8 hits or 8 shots against the Gorbeast Chariot. Rolled my dice, only needing a 4, and I got only 1 hit, which thankfully wounded, or I would not have been a happy bunny. And because there was no regen on him anymore, I managed to kill it. So I had 1 wound left, thank God. Then over here, as you can see, it didn't end very well for the man-eaters. Basically, Ollie rolled ridiculously well. Not in 2 rounds of combat, not failing to hit at all.
Well, with the riders.
With the riders, at least. Well, and the Juggernauts did pretty damn well as well. And yeah, really sorted me out. Yeah, unfortunately, without my buff, I couldn't quite easily get through his armour, and yeah, it didn't really do anything. And yeah, so I then failed my leadership test, because obviously the general now being dead, I rolled a 9, and then my re-roll I got a 10, and they legged it. So you can see 9 inches I rolled, which was just enough to keep me away from the board edge. And then with bated breath, Ollie rolled his dice, and thank God only rolled an 8. So you can see that things were really close as it ended. Then over here was got even closer, as his Exalted Champion attacked, managed to do 2 wounds. Then turned around, I attacked, managed to get a wound through on him, and then yeah, and then basically just because of the sheer number of well, I had a banner and a BSB, but was disrupted, so no rank bonus on 1 wound. Unfortunately, Ollie had the flank and 2 wounds and was BSB, so he won by 1. And rolling a dice, because I was steadfast, thankfully, I got a 9, which was just enough. Thankfully, with his leadership and the standard discipline, it kept me in the game. So that's how it ended. There's some a major battle. So yeah, it was pretty hefty.
Yeah, I think. Well, with size the clear winner.
Yeah, I've got about nearly 2,000 points worth of stuff on the board, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll hand you over to Ollie for his lament, which is well deserved.
Well, like I said, we didn't even bother totalling up points because Sire's definitely won this one. Yeah, not my finest out. I think it went pretty badly. Sort of about from turn 3 onwards, really. All kinds of horrible things happened. My Demon Prince dying was unfortunate, but you know he killed those Mornfang a bit too quickly. In a way, it was kind of better if he hadn't ever actually killed them at all and they just held. But it's the first time Sides actually failed a break test. Yeah. So well, I don't know where to start really. I'm quite content with the list, sort of going into it. The reason that from my last game the Zinch block wasn't much use. I was initially going to change them for a block of Corn Warriors, but I don't know, it just didn't seem to measure up to size Gutstar, so I just ended up pushing them together and making one big Nurgle block, which is a great idea in theory, although it is high risk. And unfortunately this game I was just so unlucky with them, with those, to get taken off the board from Brain Gobbler is just humiliating. And then to fail the rally test and bounce through some dogs in a barn to go off the board was just horrible. So yeah, that was pretty grim. Well, just kind of going over it, right? So the Demon Prince was fine. Not entirely sure he needs to be a caster, to be honest. I like him being a caster, and he's certainly safe in close combat. But unfortunately just kind of blows through things too quick and ends up getting caught out like that. So I could save 140 points on that just by removing his magic levels and maybe taking a level 4. But then of course that cuts into my points even more because I've got to pay for a level 4, which is a lot more than 140 points. So maybe another level 2, but I don't know about that Still to be decided. The Chimera also got owned by Brain Gobbler, which was unfortunate. I think it's definitely the spell of the match here. It's utterly destroyed my army, pretty much. The Skull Crushers are excellent. I love them. I think they're really good. Even at their inflated points costs. So obviously they were cheaper before the new book came out, but I think that's fair. I certainly like them having 3 wounds rather than toughness 5. Hell Cannon was just really unlucky this game. It normally performs really well, so that's fair enough. It's bound to not have the odd off day. I'd take 1 off day as opposed to size 1 on day with his cannon. So the dogs are a bit of a liability, to be honest, because they cause panic tests quite a lot, which only really occurred to me. Didn't really affect this game, but they are a bit of a liability. So especially when there's generals running around being a hero in the far corners of the board, their leadership 5 is a bit dangerous. So BSB was good. He certainly measured up. Not really sure I need a BSB running around on a disc, but it's quite handy to have. Maybe he's better off in the big block Nurgle guys, just make it more of a Death Star. I don't know. Not a big fan of Death Stars, but maybe that is the way to go. But yeah, I'll think about that a bit more. The Gorby's Chariot is excellent. I love it. I think it's really good for the points. Always performs really well. Well, the 2 games I've used it, it's performed really well. Very happy with that. As a kind of answer to his Rhinosaur left a comment saying what I thought of the new book. And I've got to say, I am a big fan of the book, but probably not for the reasons that I should be. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the new units, other than the Skull Crushers, who I think are really good, and the Gorby's Chariot. The new monsters and that. I'm not a fan of them at all. They're so vanilla and just don't really do much. The one with the bound spell, the Vortex Beast. The bound spell's it just isn't that good. It's so random, and you've got to pay. You've got to cast this spell to make him worthwhile. Which, of course, if he was casting a particularly powerful version of it, opponents can easily dispel it because it's a bound spell. So he's garbage as far as I'm concerned. Although he is more survivable than the Slaughter Brute, because he does actually have a 5-up regen, which is quite nice. The Slaughter Brute, I just don't get it. I don't see the point in him at all. And he's the added liability of actually having to be bound to a character. And if that character dies, then he just becomes even more useless. You might as well just take a Shaggoth if you're going to take a vanilla monster. And I don't really rate Shaggoths either, other than having a really good model. The Gorby's Chariot is excellent. That's one of the good ones, I think. The Seekers of Slaanesh, they're quite good, but they're not Seekers. Whatever the Marauders version is, they're quite good. They're very fast and that, but they are relatively expensive. But then, being Slaanesh, you haven't got the worry of the whole dog thing fleeing, so maybe they're worth it just to not cause panic tests. But then you could just take Marauder Horsemen with Marcus Slaanesh, but that's probably not worth either. But yeah, so jury's out on those, but I don't have any, and I'm not likely to buy them because I think they look a bit weird. I think they're more for a Demons of Chaos army than Warriors of Chaos. So my stuff looking a bit more kind of gritty, and I don't really like the idea of these elegant looking demon type things running around. Not a big Slaaneshi fan anyway. The Dragon Ogres, pretty much the same as they were in the previous edition. They don't really have much use as far as I'm concerned. You really need to give them great weapons, and then you're cutting into their survivability, which is a 4-up armor save at toughness 4. I know they've got 4 wounds, but I don't really rate them compared to a Skull Crusher. I'd much rather have a Skull Crusher. I think that's pretty much everything. I think Throg's really good. I'd definitely use Throg in a Troll Horde maybe. That's something I'd consider, but unfortunately Trolls are quite expensive, so not looking into that just yet. But then he existed in the old book anyway, so it's not like he's new. And in fact, all the characters are pretty much the same. So don't really use special characters that often anyway, apart from Festus. Festus is really good, except when he blows himself up. And so the real thing for me, and once again, it's one of the reasons I really like playing Warriors of Chaos, is me Demon Prince. I love me Demon Prince, and I stuck with him even when he was terrible. Oh, nice one, side cheers. And I think Credence really hit the nail on the head with how to fix it. He's made him really useful. He's good as a combat character. He's relatively cheap compared to what he was. He has that survivability he needs, and that for me is what makes my Warriors of Chaos army so good. Is I just love having a Demon Prince as my general, and now he can actually survive without hiding behind a barn for the whole game, which is always good. Much to Si's delight, I actually deployed him behind this barn like old times. Maybe should have stayed there. Certainly with the synergies with Laura Nurgle and Weapon Skill 9 just make him so good at surviving. And the Soul Feeder to give him regen, to heal wounds up. He's in fact can have armour, and just enough magic items to keep him alive without being too ridiculous. I think it was really couldn't have got that just right, just having 25 points. I think any more than that would have been a bit too much. The demon gifts are relatively useful. I certainly haven't found myself filling out the allowance yet, but considering I have like a whole list of stuff that he has, none of them are really that expensive. They're just like little things to keep him alive, like the Charm Shield, which makes a huge difference for his survivability. Although in both times I've used it, I roll a 1. Yeah, so that's been pretty bad. But like I say, that's what makes Warriors of Chaos for me. I mean, I was quite happy with the army anyway, but just allowing my Demon Prince to be useful makes me really happy. So that's why I'm really enjoying the Warriors of Chaos now, because I can use my Demon Prince in that way. And fiddle with him, there's lots to do with him. I think really Nurgle, you kind of have to go Nurgle even if you're not using him as a caster. Obviously without the Zinch improved ward save, on the demons at least, I don't think Zinch is really worth it, and Slanesh has always been a bit garbage, and I certainly don't like a frenzied Demon Prince. So, although I don't think he gets frenzy, I think he gets like +1 strength on the charge or something. It's pretty rubbish. So he kind of needs to be Nurgle, in my opinion. And other changes. I mean, I love the changes to Laura Nurgle -1 hit. I think that's really good. Hasn't really helped me at all yet because my Nurgle units haven't really seen combat. And so I was pretty much handing my arse with a few combats they have seen. So a lot of the new stuff, in my opinion, isn't really that great and it's not very interesting. But I like the changes to some of the old stuff, mainly the Demon Prince. So, but other than that, I think a lot of the stuff is pretty much unchanged. I certainly don't miss Marauders. I found them a bit boring, to be honest. And let's face it, 5 points for a guy with 2 strength 5 attacks, immune to psychology, is just stupid. So I certainly don't miss those. But I do think 11 points for 1 now is a bit excessive. They certainly, in my opinion, rendered them useless. Not that I personally miss them, but for all those people who did have a lot of Marauders, they're going to be a bit gutted by not being able to use them now. So I think that's a shame, but I just think 3 points for a great weapon upgrade, not including the mark, is pretty excessive, really. But you know, like I said, it doesn't really bother me. But I just feel a bit sorry for all those people who did have them. But then there's a lot of hate out there for Marauders, so maybe they deserve it. But yeah, for me, Nurgle is definitely the god for this army. I'm certainly going to repaint some stuff Nurgle-y. I think Zinch has lost its way. I think the new Zinch law is pretty terrible, to be honest.
Okay, well, it was nice for me to record another win, second on the trot. I would say, however, that was a sizable amount of luck in my direction. Ollie's rolling was absolutely terrible, and that really did contribute towards quite a striking victory. I think, to be honest, probably my turkey of the match, sort of sitting here thinking, because considering how well everything else did, I'd say it's probably the Man-Eaters, because though the Mournfang were wiped out, I mean, they were fighting a Demon Prince, and they weren't stubborn, so they, you know, Demon Prince does what it does best. You know, it's tough to hit, tough to wound, tough to hurt, and it can hand out damage 2 up to hit, 2 up to wound. So, you know, it just does what it does on the tin. However, the Man-Eaters, I think, should have done better. I kind of the way I pictured it in my head was I was going to try and cannon one or two of these guys, whittle them down, and then buff these guys with Ball Gorger, which I did successfully at least one time, to get a high enough strength to get through the armour. Well, the trouble was that, I mean, I did. The first turn was great. I wiped out one guy, had two left, and I thought, you know, if I can repeat that, then with one guy left, then my casualties are going to be diminishing. So I'm still going to be getting the same number of attacks against him, but he's obviously hitting less back. And then I thought, well, eventually I could maybe win the combat and sort of pursue them and kill them. However, it didn't work out like that way, and they sorted me out. Ollie rolled really well for those guys. I mean, I did too, to be fair. I got a lot of wounds, considering, you know, 4s to hit and 3s to wound. I did pretty damn well. Yeah, it was. So I think these guys are probably the turkey. I mean, I thought really that this thing was going to be the end up being the turkey of the game. I mean, the first shot having misfired and then fouling the barrel for 2 turns, I thought, oh god, here we go again. But no, it came back. It wiped out Demon Prince, and yeah, you know, did 4 wounds to the chariot, which was great. So yeah, it did really well. The lead belters were brilliant. They were annoying enough to Ollie to make him charge them, and to have them repeatedly flee, which obviously meant his Demon Prince wasn't able to cast, which was great. So yeah, it was. They did really well, and I mean, losing them was a bit nasty, but you know, to be fair, yeah, that's kind of what that chariot is for. I mean, had they survived, I think they probably would have had no right to have, to be honest. Plus, it would have been risky. I would have had to charge this thing in and risk getting that killed. And I didn't particularly want to lose another 170 victory points compared to considering what happened here. As Ollie did warn me about that magic phase, the last one, says, oh, it's not worth doing it. I thought, whatever. And yeah, his advice was very true, because yeah, it screwed me over.
I think that's made me laugh that last turn, because that is probably the worst turn you've ever had. It's just happened to be at the end of a game that you'd already won. Yeah. Which was thankful, because basically he blew up his wizard. He nearly didn't kill that, even though he had 1 wound left.
Yeah.
He broke with a stubborn 8-reroll of all unit and nearly run off the board. And then this unit nearly broke as well. Yeah, it was. You nearly lost the whole lot in one turn.
It was kind of.
It's living proof that bad luck exists.
Yeah, man. So I think I've decided that those dice, they can go free to a good home. I'll put an ad on Warseer. So anyone that wants them, they're free. I'll even play postage. If you're
fed up with winning, then
or if you want to screw over your opponent, you know, if you've always got some annoying guy that comes over and doesn't bring his own dice, then you know, I'll quite happily give you my dice, and you can let him roll them and watch him cry a river as he rolls nothing but 1s. So yeah, that we'll have to do that. So yeah, keep an eye out on Warseer if you're interested, and yeah, I'll be posting it. I'll pay postage and packaging anywhere in the UK. Sort of international.
Unless it's Essex, because that's too close.
Yeah,
it's got as far away as possible.
Essex, I'll just throw them in a river. But yeah, international postage, you guys might have to pay, because that might be a little pricey. But anywhere in the UK, you bloody have them on me. So yeah, it was a really good game. I think yeah, barring the shenanigans of the last turn, which were pretty terrible, I think it was kind of going flawlessly for me. I couldn't have asked for it any better. I mean, Ollie's luck was miserable, and my luck was seemingly pretty damn good. And then, yeah, I managed to blow me wizard up. But
hopefully, now I've started to have some bad luck, we can have some more balanced games.
Yes.
It's definitely size renaissance, and my luck has definitely run out.
Yeah, man. So I get my ass.
Hopefully we'll meet in the middle somewhere.
So yeah, I'm working on getting some more man eaters, and I've got some ideas for tweaking the army a little bit. Just a little bit of optimization here and there, and yeah, I'll have to see how that comes out. So with that, I'll say thank you, and we'll see you next week.